Thank you. Thank you for the shares. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yay. I appreciate you. Shout out to baby daddy. That's crazy saying that out loud. Let's see. Shout out to you. Okay, let's see. All right, let's go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Katan. I'm the founder of BossBayBlog.com. And today we are talking about stop waiting until your business looks professional. So I have some conversations that I want to discuss. The first thing is perfectionism. The second thing is starting with what you have. And the third thing is improving while you're visible. Okay, perfectionism. It ends up becoming a procrastination technique for you subliminally. And I say this because I know so many entrepreneurs that what is this? TikTok really needs to stop with these notes. Okay, yeah. Sorry, guys. So I say that because I know so many entrepreneurs that lean on perfectionism and then they end up never executing. So it's perfectionism. Perfectionism is not the goal. Execution and elevation is the goal. You are not going to be perfect at anything that you do. And even if you get close to it, you're still going to have a day where maybe there's a mistake or something could have been done better. There's always opportunity for growth. And a lot of times people get so stuck on it has to look like this, it has to feel like this, it has to sound like that. And then they end up never doing. Trust me, you do not want to do what the average person will do when it comes to their dreams and their goals, which is get overwhelmed by trying to be perfect and then never doing anything. Um, I can't stress this enough. No day is promised. If you are someone who likes to perfect, ask yourself, are you truly striving for perfectionism or are you simply procrastinating because you're scared of what if you fail or what if you succeed? Ask yourself that question because a lot of people hide behind the cloak of trying to be perfect when in reality they have a fear of being judged and they have a fear of them not being good enough. It's not really about them being perfect. It's about the fact that I'm scared about stepping out of my comfort zone. And even if I was perfect, I still probably wouldn't step out of my comfort zone because I have a level of insecurity that I have to work through. And so sometimes people use being perfect as an excuse, but in all actuality, they're really just nervous. And I've seen this happen so many times. I've worked in retail and I've had different types of workers. So this is a funny story, but it used to drive me nuts in retail. I had two different employees that worked for me. And one of them was really friendly, really outgoing. She knew how to talk to the customer. She could sell water to a fish. She was smooth. But when it came to working on actually like getting the store looking presentable and doing the displays and steaming the clothing and making sure that the merchandising looked right, that was not her forte. It was overwhelming for her sometimes because she knew how stressful it could become if you didn't get things done the way that the company said it had to be done. I had another employee. She was so good when it came to visuals. She had everything looking crisp, like crispy. Okay. And when it came to actual people, she was extremely nervous. So she never knew how to like talk to people or engage with them or communicate. And she would make the customers feel a little weird sometimes. And we would laugh about it later. But in the moment, she was so nervous about it. So whenever I would train them and I would switch out what their tasks were, I always purposefully give them the tasks that I know they struggle in the most so that they can grow and they can be well rounded in their careers, whether it's in entrepreneurship, whether it's in retail or wherever. That's what I do as a leader. So that's what I was doing. And I noticed that every time I would have the employee who wasn't good with the customers going and focusing on customer service, she would always find something else to do or something else that needed to be done to avoid talking to the customers. So she'd be like, oh, I got to steam these shirts. Oh, we just got some shipment in. Oh, the bell just rung in the back. And every time she would do it, I would say, don't worry about it. I'll steam the shirts myself. Don't worry about the shipment. I'll do it myself. Don't worry about the bell. I'll go open the door myself. Don't worry about sweeping. I'll clean the whole store by myself. Don't worry about anything. And I would just keep telling her, don't worry about it until she had nothing that she could possibly do except for face the thing that she was nervous about the most, which is connecting with other people and getting out of her head and using her task as a excuse not to connect with people. And that's what people do in entrepreneurship. They use perfectionism as an excuse not to connect with people and not to put themselves out there in their comfort zone. A lot of people do that. So I just want to challenge you to make sure that when you're talking about being perfect, you're not telling yourself, oh, I want to be perfect. But deep down inside, you're just scared and nervous about stepping out there and actually telling people about who it is you are and what it is you do. So that's the first lesson. The next one that I want to talk about is going to be, let's see. Um, Oh, and if you're enjoying my tips, you would like to be a part of my business directory, make sure you head on over to 833, text 833-705-4352. Thank you guys for the invites. I appreciate you. I'll check them out later. Okay, so the next thing is start with what you have. I've talked about this many times, but I'll say it again. There were moments in my business career where I didn't have, I mean, I've never had $1 million team behind me. I've never had someone paying for all of my ads. I've never had, a whole bunch of people that were like, here, pay this, or here, take this and do what you want with it. That's never been me. So when people see my business and they see the connections that I've built, they sometimes assume that I must have had all of that stuff. I didn't have any of that stuff. And I didn't have that level of funding that I really wanted at that time. And it's not to say that you can't get it and create a funding plan, but that's not what I had. So I'm saying all this to say that there were moments where people would talk about all the things that you need to have in order to succeed. Like, oh, if you want to be a podcaster, you got to have a fancy podcast setup. You got to have the professional mic. You got to spend X amount of dollars on equipment. You have to purchase, $5,000, $1,000 on worth of what's that stuff called? Can't think of the name. Worth of ads and stuff like that. People make you feel like you need more in order to be enough. Do you know how many times I've gone to an event or I've talked to a person and they tried to make me feel like I needed more in order for me to be enough, when in reality it was a projection of their own insecurity because they felt like they needed more in order for them to be enough. That's what people do sometimes, and they're not always doing it on purpose. And so you have to make sure that you're not doing that to other people, but you also have to make sure you're not doing it to yourself. So when you start off in entrepreneurship, you don't need to have the bells and whistles. I was on a live with somebody, or not a live, a consultation, and they looked behind me and they were like, that's what I need. When I have that, that's when I'll go live. As soon as I have that set up. You don't need this setup to go live. I've gone live on a blank white wall, and I've gone live on a setup. And this live isn't anything crazy. You can go to IKEA, you can go to Dollar Tree, you can go to Amazon, you can go to a small business that sells decor. This jewelry is from a business in our directory. That's a jewelry holder that I had from retail. This rose gold lamp came on for Ross years ago. That's a rose gold pillow behind this stuff. It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to obtain, number one, and number two, you don't need it. It's just an excuse that you're giving yourself not to go hard because you're scared of failing and you're scared of what other people think, and you have to stop caring about what other people think. And that really is what it boils down to. A lot of people are used to external validation, so they look for other people to validate what they're doing. And if you do that in entrepreneurship, you will fail, because entrepreneurship is not a place where you can be insecure or shy. Not at the same time. You can be a little insecure, but you can't be shy at the same time. You could be a little shy, but you can't be insecure. Like, well, you just can't. You got to pick a struggle. That's what people say. You got to pick a struggle in entrepreneurship. So, yeah, at the end of the for sure quit. No, really. I had this conversation with somebody, and when I was telling my friend about it, they just couldn't believe that I said that, because I am a coach and I'm a consultant. I'm always trying to uplift people. But I talked with this person and they were just talking about how they were scared to do this and scared to do that. And I said, they asked me for my opinion, and I said, let it go. Let it go. And it's not because I don't want you to do well. It's not because I don't think you can do it. It's because you don't want it enough. You have to want it more than the discomfort. You have to be okay with looking silly. You have to be okay with just not giving rats, you know what, about what other people are thinking. Because if you are worried about what everybody else is thinking, you are never going to achieve what is meant for you, and you're never going to step into your true calling. So I remember the one time where I, for a moment, almost doubted myself, not really myself, but my capabilities. When I first started podcasting, people told me that in order for you to reach, in order for you to get past a certain threshold in podcasting, you have to be able to hit your first 1,000 views. And I kept saying, okay, I got to get to these first 1,000 views. But when I was doing my podcast, I was like, I got to have it perfect. Like I was reading off of a script, like very robotic. If you go back and listen to my first podcast, you probably can tell I was reading off of a piece of paper, and I did that piece of paper over and over again. It would take me 30 minutes to an hour sometimes to record 1 to 2 podcasts because of me trying to be perfect. And then on top of that, I remember sitting there late at night, probably around like 3 a.m. in the morning, saying to myself, I got to get a professional podcast mic. I got to buy a professional setup. How much does this stuff cost? And I started looking up how much it costs for these super fancy things. And in the process of me doing that, um, I remember sitting there and I had to remind myself of who I am and how hard I have worked throughout my life to have the respect that I have from myself and from the people around me, how hard I've worked to learn what I've learned. How quickly I've overcome obstacles that sometimes people may have been discouraged by. I had to remind myself, and I said, I'll be damned if I let a fancy mic be the reason why I don't get to these 1,000 views on my podcast or these 1,000 downloads. So not only am I going to reach them, I'm going to reach them without this mic. And then once I reach them, I'll celebrate by getting me a different tool. I reached over 1,000 podcast downloads way before I actually purchased a physical mic for my podcast, actually sitting at about 6,000 podcast views. So I say that to remind everyone that if you're going to focus on waiting for your business to look professional, you're going to be waiting for a long time. And when I say professional, I'm not saying you got to be looking crazy or doing stuff that's just out the wall or out the wazoo crazy. I'm saying if you're sitting and trying to perfect everything, you're going to be waiting for a very, very, very long time. And who's to say that you have that time to wait? No day is promised. So that is the message that I want to leave with everybody who is watching. If you're enjoying the message, make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on YouTube if you're watching from YouTube. Share me on Facebook, share me on TikTok, like this video. Stay connected with me, guys. We'll be having more conversations like this. All right. The last thing I want to talk about is improving while you're visible. You can grow while you're visible. You can elevate while you're visible. You can learn while you're visible. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to then start telling people about your business. You just need to focus on elevating. I'm not saying you don't need to have a plan, because I've seen people just jump out and start selling products with no plan. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that you can be growing while you are pushing yourself out there. But to sit behind the cloak of I need to be professional in order for me to actually start talking about my business and showing off my products, you're going to be waiting for a real, real long time. Because guess what? Even some of the greatest entrepreneurs still have not reached perfection. So that should be a reminder to you. All right. Now that we've had that conversation, I just want to say thanks to my viewers. I appreciate you all for joining. Thanks for joining TikTok. We're sitting at over 66 viewers from the notification that I got. I'll keep announcing as we go. The next conversation that we're going to have is your audience may not understand what you actually do. If you are someone that struggles with perfectionism and you need a coach or a consultant, but you are willing, we're at 83 plus views. Yay. Thank you. But if you are willing and you want a coach or a consultant to assist you and you're ready to do what it takes and follow the instructions, then you want to go ahead and text us at 833-705-4352. We got a 3-month coaching package available. I think it's available at the price of either $200 to $300. And if you say that you are watching this TikTok live, we're going to hit you with a special little promo. So make sure you go do that. All right, moving on. Stop waiting until we did that. Your audience may not understand what you actually do. So let's talk about that. Facebook, YouTube, I'm going to pause. We'll